Welcome to Marvel Tunes!
In The Legend of Korra Book 3, Change, Korra embarks on a transformative journey as she seeks to restore balance to a world grappling with the emergence of new airbenders. With the help of Tenzin, her airbending mentor, Korra endeavors to rebuild the Air Nation, which was nearly wiped out during the Hundred-Year War. However, she faces formidable adversaries in the form of the anarchic Red Lotus, a group of dangerous anarchists led by Zahir, who seek to overthrow governments and bring an end to world leaders. As Korra and her friends confront the growing threat of the Red Lotus, they encounter new allies and face personal trials that test their resolve and their bonds. The season culminates in an epic confrontation between Korra and Zahir, resulting in profound consequences that reshape the world and set the stage for a new era of change. In this video, I will be talking about Avatar: The Legend of Korra, Book 4 Balance, from start to finish in detail. 3 years after the defeat of Zahir, the vain Prince Wu is about to be crowned Earth King, and Mako is assigned as his bodyguard. In the Earth Kingdom, Opal alongside Kai try to protect a community from bandits with limited success. Kuvira, a former guard of Zofu, emerges as a powerful figure aiming to reunite the Earth Kingdom under her leadership. She is known as the Great Uniter, appears at the head of an army that includes Bolin and her fiancé Batar Jr., along with Varric and his assistant Julie. Varric and Julie escaped prison in Book 2 when Korra was battling Unavatu and ended up joining Kuvira on her mission. Kuvira offers the governor supplies and protection if he submits his state to her sovereignty. The governor reluctantly agrees, and their conversation reveals that this has become a pattern as Kuvira consolidates more and more of the Earth Kingdom under her authority, which begins to appear increasingly despotic. Elsewhere, a dejected Korra is fighting and losing a cage match as she struggles with PTSD and physical injuries from her battle with Zahir, having apparently renounced her identity as the Avatar. Over the past 3 years, a despondent Korra has been slowly recovering her health with the aid of physical therapy and healing administered by Katara at the South Pole, following her torture and poisoning at the hands of the Red Lotus. However, the effects of the assault and the other suffering and losses that she has faced has left her psychologically traumatized and haunted by doubts that she will ever be the same again, and she has not been into the Avatar state since the assault. Tricking her family into believing she has returned to Republic City, she is in fact wandering aimlessly throughout the world, isolating herself as much as possible from her identity as the Avatar. She is haunted by a dark vision of herself as she appeared in the fight with Zahir, which appears to watch her wherever she goes. A spirit leads her into the Banyan Swamps, which previously featured in Avatar: The Last Airbender, where her doppelganger apparition chases her down and attacks her, and she suffers a hallucination of drowning, but regains consciousness in the abode of Toph Beifong. At Wu's coronation in Republic City, Kuvira refuses to yield power to him, instead announcing that she will consolidate the territories under her control into a new Earth Empire. This creates a rift between her and the other world leaders, including Su, as well as between Bolin and Mako, who has to protect the unpopular Wu from angry supporters of Kuvira. Meanwhile, in the Banyan Swamp, Toph agrees to help Korra regain her strength, though her methodology largely consists of browbeating Korra and beating her up with still formidable earthbending. She finds residual metal poison inside Korra but can't remove it. Korra subconsciously resists, scarred by her previous traumas. Elsewhere, Tenzin sends Jinora on a mission, alongside her siblings, Ikki and Milo, to search for Korra, and Varric experiments on spirit vines for Kuvira. While the young airbenders look far and wide for Korra, Ikki is briefly captured by 2 Earth Empire soldiers, and they share information about where they have their campsites, which helps her figure out Korra's location. Jinora and Milo knock out the kidnappers, and Ikki leads the trio to the swamp. There, Korra is still haunted by visions of being hurt by her past enemies, but manages to connect to the siblings through the great banyan grove tree's roots. After they beg her to resume her avatar duties to face Kuvira, Toph's advice helps Korra to let go of her fears, bend the rest of the poison out of herself, and re-enter the avatar state. As Kuvira's army marches on Zaofu, Su refuses to let her city join the new empire. Korra decides to travel to Zaofu and believes that Kuvira can be reasoned with. On the train, Varric realizes that the power of the spirit vines is dangerous and wants to end the experiments, but Kuvira threatens to kill him if he stops. Kuvira and Batar take Bolin to negotiate with Su, but it doesn't go as planned because Su refuses to join the new empire. Opal reveals that towns and villages under Kuvira are suffering more than they ever did, so Bolin starts to question which angers Kuvira. Korra arrives in Zaofu and learns that 3 years ago, after the death of the queen, she was offered to take over the Earth Kingdom, but she refused because she would have been seen as a conqueror. Kuvira had different thoughts and beliefs, so she decided to take charge and travel to Ba Sing Se to become the temporary leader of the Earth Kingdom. Bolin comes to Varric, and they both conclude that Kuvira is a dangerous tyrant and decide to escape, but their escape is foiled by Batar and some other soldiers as everyone gets captured. While Ju Li pledges her allegiance and loyalty to Kuvira, Varric is forced to weaponize the spirit vines for her. Meanwhile, back at Republic City, Asami reconnects with her imprisoned father as she decides to forgive him for his evil actions in Book 1 and give him a second chance. After Sue and her twin sons are captured while infiltrating Kuvira's camp to take her out, Kuvira agrees to a duel with Korra to decide control of Zaofu. Although now free of the effects of the Red Lotus poison, Korra remains off balance, and Kuvira goads her to gain further advantage, consistently outmaneuvering Korra. Unable to otherwise gain the advantage, Korra enters the Avatar state and prepares to deliver a devastating blow until she hallucinates a vision of her dark specter in Kuvira's place and collapses to the ground. Jinora, along with her siblings and Opal, save Korra and flee with her on the back of a bison. Meanwhile, Varric and Bolin are being taken to prison. While working on the vines, Varric improvises a spirit vine bomb to destroy the train. Everyone try to run away, which allows the two of them to escape in time before the bomb explodes. Kuvira forces Zaofu's citizens to submit and has Batar and Ju Li continue work on the vine superweapon. Back at Republic City, Korra reunites with her friends, while at a restaurant, Wu is abducted on Kuvira's orders. Korra uses the spirit vines to sense Wu and guides Asami and Mako to rescue him from a train and hide him with Mako's family in Asami's mansion. Meanwhile, Bolin and Varric encounter escapees from Kuvira's prison camps, which now house anyone not of Earth Kingdom blood, and help them escape from the now walled-in empire. Meanwhile, in the swamp, Kuvira's forces begin harvesting the spirit tree's vines for her superweapon. In Republic City, Fire Lord Izumi and Tenzin refuse to endorse Raiko's proposed offensive against Kuvira, even after Bolin and Varric bring word of her vine weapons research. Reacting to Kuvira's harvesting of the spirit vines in the swamp, vines in Republic City begin to attack random people, Jinora included, trapping them in the spirit world. Korra's psychological trauma prevents her from meditating to enter the spirit world. Unable to think of another way to let go of the fear that continues to handicap, Korra decides to confront the real Zahir in his prison. Zahir, disgusted with the rise of a tyrant like Kuvira, who stands as the antithesis to the philosophies of the Red Lotus, proposes to help Korra. He assists her in learning to pass beyond the trauma of her past hardships and helps her step into the spirit world, where Korra speaks with Rava for the first time in many years. Using her restored ability to communicate with the spirits, Korra calms the volatile vines and frees Jinora and the other human captives. Meanwhile, Bolin attempts and fails to make up with Opal, but agrees to help her and Lin rescue their family. Near Zaofu, the group is joined by Toph, and they all track the Beifong prisoners to a facility where Batar and Ju Li are testing a vine energy supercannon. The team decides to break out the captured Beifongs since everyone is busy with testing the superweapon. Kuvira discovers Ju Li's attempt to sabotage the weapon and decides to place her as a target to be destroyed. Lin manages to help Sue and her family escape, but they are discovered. Opal and Bolin try to save Ju Li, while the others fight off against Kuvira and her forces. After a small but intense battle between Sue and Kuvira, everyone manages to safely escape. At Republic City, everyone learns about Kuvira's plan to take over Republic City because it used to be Earth Kingdom territory before Avatar Aang and Fire Lord Zuko decided to build a city of its own, away from Earth Kingdom's control. As citizens of the city are being evacuated, Kuvira's army shows up and stands behind the borders. Team Avatar travels on an air bison to talk to Kuvira and discover her true power as she attacks them with her giant spirit energy cannon. Korra, alongside Tenzin and other airbenders, infiltrate an airship and kidnap Batar so they can negotiate to stop the giant. However, it doesn't go as planned because Kuvira tracks their location using radio waves and even tries to kill Batar with the cannon. The group manages to evade Kuvira's attack and retreats to Asami's office. Tenzin and his kids try to blind Kuvira with paint, while Korra and the others try to knock down the giant mecha, but it is deemed too powerful for all of them. Acting on advice from Batar, they decide to use their flying mecha suits to pierce the mecha's armor and destroy it from the inside. Lin also releases Hiroshi Sato, who agrees to help them to atone for his previous actions in Book 1. Varric proposes to Zhu Li, who accepts. The two of them, along with Asami and Hiroshi, attack the mecha. Hiroshi sacrifices himself to open a hole and allow Team Avatar to infiltrate it. In the mech's control room, Korra and Kuvira fight one another. Meanwhile, Team Avatar begin to take the giant apart from the inside. Su and Lin disable its arm and weapon, and Bolin and Mako detonate its power source, with Mako risking and nearly losing his life to blow the Colossus into several pieces. Korra and Kuvira crash land in the city's spirit wilds, and Kuvira activates the discarded cannon, triggering a staggering and self-sustaining release of energy powered by the vines surrounding them. Leaping to block the beam of the weapon from annihilating Kuvira, Korra enters the Avatar state and channels the massive outpouring of spirit energy, redirecting it and miraculously creating a third portal into the spirit world. Emerging into the spirit world, Kuvira and Korra commiserate over their hardships and the mistakes they have made, and Kuvira concedes defeat and is arrested upon returning to the physical world. Weeks later, at Zhu Li and Varric's wedding, Wu announces his intent to abdicate in favor of democratic Earth states. Korra and Asami plan a trip together to the spirit world. In the last scene of the series, the two walk hand in hand into the new spirit portal.
If you like this recap, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Marvel Toons, as there's more to come your way.